coming at you, straight from the atrocity realm. It's Rage Across the Internet, your very favorite werewolf podcast. I'm your host, Porter. To my left, we got producer Joey.
Hey, guys.
And once again, the man, the myth, the guy we paid off to sit here, Tom.
Do you pay me for this?
Well, it's ice cream and puppies.
Oh, hey, that works. We know how the puppies work on me.
That's right. And we'll get you straight back in that van when this is over.
It's whatever works for you guys.
So we all do today.
I'm doing fantastic.
Same here.
That's good.
Weather's been treating us right.
Yeah, about time, right?
Right.
I don't know about where you guys are, but, it has stopped raining here, finally. And there's no snow, which is amazing.
And it's 80 degrees.
Right? And I mean, that's outside. Here in Summer Rain Studio, it's got to be, 212?
Something like that.
It's slightly cooler.
You can soak it, don't worry.
Oh, totally.
It's slightly cooler than the surface of the sun.
Master of Fire, though, you're fine.
Gift I don't have.
Well, you did it wrong.
It's all right.
This is the only Hamid player I've seen in 20 years. I won't take Master of Fire. That's dumb.
Didn't want to copy the other two players in our group.
Oh, shit. So what do we got on tap today?
Today we are going to have Chronicle Building as our topic.
Okay.
Yeah. So, a storytelling episode. Woohoo!
Sounds like that's on me.
A little bit.
Balls.
Aw, you love it.
We're fine. So yeah, we're talking about with the art of the arc.
The art of the arc.
That's
I like that.
Say that 10 times fast.
The art of the... I'm not doing that. No, I want to. But
Right. It's tempting.
Nature worshipping murder cult? What?
Right. And I don't even feel bad because I know like Eric and Billy will listen to that. They'll listen to me say that shit 10 times in a row.
I would too. I mean,
right?
That's just comic relief.
Yeah, so I like the idea of doing that to you guys, but...
Maybe get him to send it to you in a PM.
All right. So, I guess do you guys, how do you want to do this? You want me to just start blathering on, or you guys got stuff for me?
I've got some questions, but, you can blather on for a bit.
Give me something to launch off of.
Okay.
Give him some food.
That's right.
So, the inspiration for the Chronicle, is it the same for each episode, or does it change?
Well, see, and that's great. That's a great question, because I can ignore it and jump onto something new, and then I'll come back to it.
Okay.
So, see, look at that. You gave me a jumping off point. Well, first of all, when I'm writing, because, different people write it different ways. I'm not the boss.
Different folks, different strokes.
That's what she said?
That gets you on a list. Fuck. No, how I write, first of all, I generally, and this is especially for new players, I try to describe a chronicle like a season of television. Mm-hmm. This way it's something everyone can relate to.
Right.
And as you guys know, I also title every chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Every story has its own name. I do that for my record keeping. It makes it easier. And I think it makes it easier for you guys to reference back to a story in particular.
Yes.
Instead of going, that time when we were in New Orleans and then we did that thing here, you can go, oh, no, it was the dinner bell caper.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Chronicle of the Guilty.
There you go. And I think that's what we're going to focus on today. As we get into building a chronicle, I'm going to use the example of that chronicle, but we'll get there. When you're building, a longer arc or a full chronicle, you want to have, first of all, you need a plan, and it's all well and good to say, well, this would be cool, this would be cool, this would be cool. And that's a great place to start a couple of random ideas, whatever gets that inspirato going. But just because something's cool is not a good enough reason to do it. And I believe that with your character work, I believe that with your NPC building, I believe that with your story writing. Being cool isn't a good enough reason.
Okay.
There has to be more behind it. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, that shit's just hollow. I understand the Transformers movies made a lot of money. That doesn't make Michael Bay less of an idiot.
Explosions, man.
But there you go.
Right.
What do you want, So let's go back to that question that I do not remember what it was anymore, but you got me started, so thank you.
So the inspiration for Chronicle.
Yes.
Is it the same for each episode, or does it change?
Well, generally it's the same, because, thematically it should be the same.
Okay.
You know, and this is where you go back to the example that I'm going to use for this episode when I wrote The Guilty. You know, I wanted to, and that came from a song. It is what gave me the first, you know, that first snap of inspiration on it. But I decided thematically I wanted it to be about the loss of innocence and the lack of innocence.
Okay.
That nobody's hands were clean. You know, manipulation and deception were all things I needed to be part of this. You know, this was my second Chronicle with you guys, or with, you know, Tom and Danny and them. You know, because Joe, you weren't here yet.
Correct.
You know, so they were just off a little 4-part thing I wrote for them to get their toes wet, you know, see if they wanted to continue on. So they're these brand new Garu. And it seemed perfect to write a Chronicle just to illustrate that you are not the plucky hero. Capes are not blowing in the wind, you know. It's not that. It's this other thing, you know. You are all guilty on some level. So, yeah, I kept that through the entire thing. There can be little deviations here and there through the stories as long as it, at the end of the day, all connects.
Okay. Another question I have for you. When you're writing Chronicles specifically, do you start in the beginning, the end, or somewhere in the middle?
I was going to ask that question. You beat me to it.
That depends. It depends. And again, I think it has a lot to do with where that spark hits.
Okay.
You know, like I said, with The Guilty, for me, it was Through the Valley by Sean James was the song I heard. And it, you know, like a fucking lightning bolt.
Okay.
And this was what I'm going to do. And I had, I saw it from the end. And in this case, I built that Chronicle backwards from the ending scene. Which, as it originally was, it's not how it ended up. And I'm sure we'll touch down on that. But as it originally was going to end, you know, it was about this war, a full-on war between the vampires and the werewolves in New Orleans. And it wasn't going well, obviously. You know, I mean, the Garu were doing very well. This was a problem. And it was decided that the Garu were going to blow the levees and flood the city.
Okay.
To kill millions of people, to deny the vampires their food and get them out of the city. We can come back and get our cairns back. We can hold the city once it's, you know, once it's clean. Yeah.
That's extremely dark.
Exactly. And then the idea is that there would be, and it ended up being in Ikanyu, so I was going to write it, was going to show up 11th hour while they're planning the charges and go, look, you don't know who I am or what you guys, you don't, you know, but here's the thing. Here is an offer of peace. And it would be putting the players, as the ones who inadvertently started this battle, this whole thing, would be the ones in the position to either trust the enemy or murder millions of people.
Man, that would have been such a good ending.
And you had to go and ruin it.
Yep.
We've touched on that before.
Yeah. But see, either way, at the end of the Chronicle, you were the guilty.
Right. That was still one of my favorite Chronicles. You wrote that one so well.
I was really, actually, I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
It might be my finest work. We'll see how this Chronicle ends up. we're midway.
I love where we are in the Midway Chronicle, too.
Yeah.
Both these back-to-back are great.
The virus has put our game on hiatus, so...
And we're all dying to get back into it.
Yeah, we really, really are. And, you know, on an aside, I think when we do finish the Chronicle that we're currently working our way through, I think we should do an episode to dissect it for the podcast.
I would love to do that.
So, you know, if you guys want to hear that, let us know.
Yeah, I'll talk about that all day. Again, that's another Chronicle so far I'm very proud of.
But you did mention something in your last answer about players changing things on you. So what do you do when a player or a group derails your plan?
She keeps taking all my questions.
I have them written down. I prepared in advance.
You too. You have to trade or something. Because she's going to say hers and you're going to go, and the show's going to be over in 10 minutes.
I'm sorry. But both of those popped into my head, too, and then she already said them, so.
No, you rest the next one. You figure it out, Chuck.
Yeah, I got to sit here and ponder.
You shit in your pants. That's the short version.
Okay, that's an answer.
No, and you know, this one was bad. I think I've talked about this before on the show, but I don't recall, and you guys will just hear it again. Too bad. When Tom made the decision Because, sometimes it's little things. Mm-hmm. But with Tom, it was a big one. And it was a thing that me as a storyteller didn't know. And I got in the unenviable position because, if this works, you roll the die and it works, it work too well.
Yeah.
So I called the break, and I had to think about it, because what's more important? My original, this beautiful original ending, or rewarding this creative thinking? And ultimately, it's kind of a no-brainer. You got to set your ego aside. And you go, well, you reward the creativity, because this isn't Porter's ego, the apocalypse. It's not about me, I didn't get this group together to show off how awesome I am as a writer. I got people together to enjoy the fucking game.
Trust me, I felt horrible ruining how, because he told us the ending after we played through what I came up with. And when he told me the ending, I felt horrible. I was like, man, I would have loved to have seen that through. I kind of stabbed myself on that one, but it was a very good creative thought on my part.
It was. It was really smart. It was really clever. And, I could have just fudged rolls. I mean, that's the thing you can do. You can just fudge rolls. Or, the elders just could have not listened to you at all because you're just a young kid and, the adults are talking.
Hey, this is Chronicle 2. I was wet behind the ears, maybe 2 months into change.
Right.
I couldn't believe they took me seriously.
But there it is, right? I could have done those things, but to me it felt like it would have been cheating. That's a bigger example, but when someone throws a wrench in, you just have to dance around it. And I would love to be more specific,
Yeah.
Because it's about thinking on your feet. It's about, okay, what can I do to still get to where I want to go? But it's a skill. It takes practice. I wish there was more practical advice I could give. But, there's more than one way to get to where you need to be. So if you need to call a break, call a fake bathroom break and you're going to take a crap, to buy yourself 20 minutes to think something through. Or, maybe you got smokers in the group, call smoke break. Maybe it's time to order dinner. If you need to give yourself a little bit of time to figure it out. But it will get easier as you go.
Well, let me piggyback on that then. So you're writing out an episode.
Mm-hmm.
You have a point in your episode where your players can make the choice to go left, right, forward, wherever, whatever the choice is. Mm-hmm. Many options. Are you writing out each option, or are you only writing out the one that you kind of want?
If it's me, I'm writing them all unless
they have to go this way.
No. Actually, unless, and this is a fun example I'm going to give you guys. So this was many years ago. I was in Virginia running games there. And it was a story called Diplomacy and You. And the short version is they were sent out, the Cubs were sent out by an elder to 4 specific cairns to ask for backup. And it was clear that they were sent because no one will notice that they're gone and no one knows who they are. So they're just nobody enough to be able to ask for help without word getting around that this sept needs help. So go to these 4 places exclusively, drop my name to these 4 specific people, do not come back empty-handed. And that's what they were told. The idea there was I was sending them because they were in a multi-tribal sept. I wanted to send them to single-tribe cairns to give them a different look at how some of these other tribes lived and how these cairns operated, And I knew my players. And that's something too, know your fucking players. I knew being told don't come back empty-handed meant they were going to deviate from their fucking mission. They were sent to the Actina, they were sent to the Wendigo, they were sent to the Black Furies. Christ, what was the other one?
I was hoping you were going to say Red Talon.
No, decidedly not.
Well, it just would have been fun to witness a player try to come up with a way of getting a Red Talon to come help.
Central Park, Larissa. Jesus, where's my brain?
Oh, okay.
So, they make that first stop and talk to Larissa, and, Bonars are great. And they're respectful and they're good. So they're like, well, do you have any suggestions for us of other places to go? Which already was not what you were fucking told.
Right.
But I knew they'd do it. So I sent them to Morning Kill's Court, where they fucked that up spectacularly. They were guaranteed to have the Silver Fangs right up their ass in a few stories. Already caused problems for the set because he couldn't listen. Where are they going to go next? Well, we know a lot of Geta Fenris, and one of the elders is currently in the Sept of the Bloodfist. So we'll go to Geta Fenris HQ to tell them that our cairn is, understaffed and ripe for the taking.
Uh-oh.
They did that. And I knew they were going to do it. I knew they'd go to New Orleans to talk to the Silent Hall because they worked with the Silent Hall once.
Once.
So I wrote all 3 of those scenarios down, just knowing it was going to happen. I didn't even mention the names of those places or those people in the story. I just knew my players. Of course they'd do it. And I was so busy, with how fucking clever I was for outwitting them at the pass a week in advance, that I forgot to write the description of the 4th cairn they were supposed to go to.
Ooh. Didn't even make it to that 4th.
Oh, they absolutely didn't. I had to pull it directly out of my ass. I was sitting there with a 20-page script going, you meet Jackie Gecko, who I know goddamn well is in Australia, but you're in Arizona. You don't know that, though.
That's the perk of being a storyteller.
Right? But I was so proud of how clever I thought I was.
So the key to that one is know your players.
Know your players, definitely. That's definitely, But again, that's the thing is, yeah, I'll write them all. And even some shit I think they might think of, but sometimes I will forget to...
Do the important thing?
Yeah, get your head out of your ass when you're writing is a big thing, I guess, would be the moral of that story. You cover the bases before you get clever.
So
that's the better way to do it.
And that's the other thing is if you don't know your players, stuff like what happened in The Guilty happens.
It's true. And, I mean, that's... actually leads into a great piece of advice. You need to know your players. You need to get in their heads, figure them out. That's just part of it.
Which is one thing I like that you had us doing in the first few Chronicles is at the end of each episode, we had to write a learning curve on the episode.
Yes.
And that's one way to get a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, the learning curve. That's actually part of the experience process in the book. But yeah, that's this thing I hate change is I have made for years, made my players write that. Because I was running into a scenario where the first guy to talk would say something really good and insightful, or the first person to do it. You go, okay, you get full experience for that, excellent. And then everyone else would just reword what he said.
And piggyback off of it, right.
So it's like, did you learn a thing or did you learn how to copy a thing? Because there's experience for learning a thing, but not for plagiarism.
Right.
So you make everyone write it down. That can't happen.
And it's also a good way to get in their head.
Right.
You learn how they thought about your episode that you wrote and how they absorbed it.
When you do that, and you also pay attention to your player's actions all the way through. You know the player whose character is going to be a problem. He's too important for what you're doing, so he's going to start bitching. So to keep maybe, okay. Well, these elders will be over here in earshot, so they'll hear him. And now you guys are in trouble because he can't keep his fucking mouth shut. And you're going to have to do the thing you didn't want to do in the first place. Or, however the workaround might be, or you know the character, so you can write for him.
Yeah, you can't stress that enough. Know your characters.
Yeah.
That is a big, big stamp.
Well, I think, actually, another great example would be in our current chronicle, Shadows and Tall Trees. Mm-hmm. The pack here you guys had that vision. You had a shared dream, only it wasn't exact. You guys heard voices in the tall grass, the dying tall grass. And the message was different for every player.
Right.
And, I know with Danny and Tom, with you, I kicked your asses with what the Whispers had to say.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I hit you both, kicked you both in the balls with it. Mm-hmm. Joey, on the other hand, I didn't phase her at all, but it was her second story as that character, so I didn't know the character yet.
Right.
I didn't know how to hit her yet.
Yeah. Now you can kick my ass right in center.
Sure. But it was a great example of the developed character versus the undeveloped character, which again wasn't a commentary on you because it was brand new, so we didn't know yet.
Yeah.
I didn't know yet. You do.
Trust me, my character took a sit down under a tree for about 3 hours, and
yeah, he pouted.
He mulled it over for a while.
Yeah, I got mean to you and Danny on that.
A little bit, but
easy.
it was good.
It was
really good. It was eye-awakening.
Right, and I mean that was the purpose of it in the story. It wasn't me as a storyteller being a jerk. It was the vision. It was something in the dark whispering things you didn't want to hear.
And I kind of feel a little cheated.
Well, they had joined the group a Chronicle ago.
Right, well, she was in the background. I mean, she did kind of help in the background on the Chronicle prior.
I'm just saying, that's the solution is to go back in time and join during the Guilty.
Hold on, let me get the DeLorean out of the garage.
Sweet. Time travel, do it in style.
Do you have another question, or can I go ahead and steal one?
Go right ahead. I don't have one simmering just yet.
Okay, So, how long does it take for you to put a chronicle together?
Well, again, that's going to depend. Mm-hmm. It's how the inspiration hits you. It's how well something's coming along in your head, how the planning goes. It has to do with how busy you are in the world, obviously. You know, I mean, there's a lot of factors, a lot of moving parts to that, you know. Shadows and Tall Trees, for example, is taking a lot longer. I mean, we've got the fucking month's break, we've got the quarantines and all this shit. I mean, I haven't had time to write it, but I've also creatively, I was a little thin. So for me, I'm taking that time to recharge my batteries. The Guilty, that came along really damn quick because I had a great...
You were in the zone.
I was in the zone. You know, so it takes time. And then you factor how long you're going to do this. Mm-hmm. You know, when I first sort of switched to that kind of television style format...
Right.
You know, I was keeping a chronicle roughly the length of a season of television.
Which, that changes depending on the show. So are we talking 13 episodes, 26?
Well, I would shoot for 26.
Wow.
That is a lot of writing.
Yeah. And what I learned, and it's something I don't do here, you know, is because sometimes that creates a lot of filler. Because in my mind, I've set this arbitrary goal that it has to be 26 in a chronicle.
Oh, look at a lot of TV shows.
Right. And it's a lot of bullshit filler. So when I got here and I started writing, I'm like, you know, chronicles are just going to be as long as I need to get the message across. You know, I think The Guilty was 10 parts.
Yeah.
At least originally. You
I
shaved
think,
a few off.
originally it was 13. It was 10 when we finished.
Okay. Yeah, you shaved a few off of that with your shenanigans.
Sorry.
That's fine. It worked out for the best.
Well,
It really did.
13 is still a season of TV for some shows.
True. No, that's true. But at that point, it was a coincidence.
Gotcha.
You know, because these things had to happen.
Now, are you finished writing the stories, like the chronicle, before you start telling it?
No. I start with what I call skeleton.
Okay.
And so what I do there specifically is it's the chapter name and like a sentence of kind of what I want to go is
Okay.
the skeleton. And so you'll get those down, and maybe that'll be 30 stories. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then you go to an outline and you get a bit more in depth. And as you go through that outline, you see where you can make cuts. Well, this can go here. This isn't really necessary. And then you start building and you go, well, who's in it? You know, who else? Who else is there? What am I creating? What scale? Am I making a new sept? Am I making a new pack? Are you meeting old people? What are you doing?
Okay.
You know, and I mean, obviously that starts with the skeleton, but as it gets fleshed out, you see what you need and what you don't. Well, that's a good idea, but it doesn't need to be here because right now it's just bones. Keep that idea over to the side. Kick that idea over to the side. Kick that idea over to the side. And so it gets a bit more streamlined. And then you start at the start writing scripts.
Get proficient in Excel.
Nah, it's just a bunch of really messy Word documents.
That
I
works
was
too.
gonna say, getting proficient in Excel, that's commitment.
Mm-hmm.
That's serious commitment.
Nah, it's a lot of messy Word documents.
So essentially, making a chronicle, you should have an end game right from the get-go.
You should have an idea, for sure. You should.
Right.
At the very least, you need to know what the problem is. And you definitely want a solution. You have to know. You don't run any green vials, bottom line.
Green vials?
Have I not talked about the green vial?
I don't think, no, you haven't.
All right, I got a lot of shit, you guys.
What, pray tell, are the green vials?
All right, here's just a little extra story time with Porter. So, I'm a comic guy. And, I was a huge X-Men fan, back throughout the 90s and all that. And there was a particular issue of X-Men, and I believe, don't quote me on this, it's been a while, written by Fabian Nicieza, I believe. And the whole issue was Gambit and Rogue on a date.
Okay.
They're going out to dinner. It's what we call a baseball issue. It's good. It's fine. Well, at the end of the day, it goes poorly. Gambit's walking home alone, and there's a shadowy voice coming from the alleyway.
Oh, no.
It's Mr. Sinister. And he alludes to a shared past they have, and he hands him a green vials. You're going to need this. It never fucking comes up again. Well, sometime in the future, I'm reading an article with the man. With who's no longer writing on X-Men. He's doing something else, but there's this interview. And the interviewer says, what was up with the green vial? And his answer was, we don't know.
Oh, come on.
We just thought it was cool. We thought it'd be like a neat mystery. We have no idea.
So don't write a green vial.
Don't write a green vial. I was 12 years old or whatever. I don't know what, but I learned that lesson right there. Do not write. How do you write something and not know what you fucking wrote?
Wow.
You can't put something in just because you think it's cool. You can't write whatever you want. You can't. Don't write any green vials. Those are lessons I have learned, and I stand by.
Danny, don't forget about the blood in Adebisi's hand.
That is mean.
That was the shittiest thing.
You have just made our lives that much worse.
Danny, it was a red herring.
Don't fall for it, Danny.
It was a red herring. I'm never revisiting that plot line again. Dick.
Come on. I gotta call her Philodex out once in a while.
Okay, so
I set him on that for months.
what criteria and how? Like, what is your process for choosing your big bad?
Well, there isn't always a big bad, but something that was important to me is to not try to top myself. Okay, there's countless shows, out there where you do a season, here's this big enemy, and so the next season it has to be bigger, and it's got to be bigger, it's got to be bigger. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were talking on the subject of anime. They were talking about Dragon Ball Z, where apparently the first season it's two alien invaders, and then a couple seasons later they're punching God in the face, and then they're punching the god of the gods, and then the god of the triple gods, and I didn't have a stroke. That's apparently what goes on.
It's essentially, that's the layman's way of putting that.
Yeah, and what the fuck are you doing? You look at a show like Supernatural, which is I think is a great, if you're like a storyteller.
Yep.
Don't steal plot lines, for one. Don't be inspired by it, but don't steal.
Let them steal from you.
That happened. But that's like especially the earlier seasons. There's some nice theming there. If you're playing a hunter game, I could see ripping that off maybe a bit more. But there's but then that's a show where the first season the big enemy was a demon, one single demon, and then like 2 seasons later they're just dropping demons left, right, and center. There's just their cannon fodder now. Well, at one point, there's season 5 they fight the devil.
Yeah.
And they're in season 15.
Yeah.
How do you top that?
Exactly. So you know what? I don't try to top myself. There's always Banes, there's always Spirals, and there's different types. Maybe this day the quote big bad is a corrupt elder. Maybe it's your own rage. Maybe it's there are plenty of threats, but I make an effort to go. If this is a 5 on the enemy scale, next time doesn't have to be a 6.
It can be a 3.
It can be a 3. Other things can be going on too.
It could still
though.
be a credible 3. I mean, even a 3 is still dangerous. It could still kill you.
It still can be. And then there can be other things going on. It doesn't all have to be just combat.
Scrag can easily get the drop on you when you're in Hobbit.
Or, you were away for this, but, we ran a story that was taking place in winter during the Sept, and a blizzard hit. And the entire story was, where's Roy? Roy left for work, even though he shouldn't have, and Roy's not here, and it's been 6 hours. Where's Roy?
Better start looking.
Yeah.
It's a game of survival at that point. I mean, you're still surviving. There's no enemy threat.
They had to hunt him down in a blizzard to save his life. In the meantime, the tree Andrew Bookman's been living in collapsed, and he's under that. So we gotta get him to a hospital in this fucking blizzard.
Protect your kinfolk.
What's the threat level on that?
Still high, in my opinion.
But there's not a threat. There's not something trying to attack you. But there's certainly... There's a ticking clock.
Yeah, there's multiple things going on.
Yeah.
It's still a dangerous danger.
It's still a threat, in my opinion. It's just not a physical, threat.
But there you go.
So, okay. Say there are 13 episodes in the Chronicle. And say you do have a big bad, a corrupted elder, or whatever.
Sure.
How do you choose where you put the quote mini bosses?
I don't have those.
The smaller threats.
You pepper them in as the story goes. I mean, to say that the threat is a corrupt elder. Let's get rid of that example. Let's go back to the guilty.
Okay.
Because it's
no, we can go back to the guilty.
because it's something that happened, so there aren't these fake variables that I'm getting mind flooded over.
Okay.
going, well, what if this happened? What if this happened? We'll just fucking...
Go back to the guilty. We
let's
have
use- yeah,
vampires.
let's
We-
use the real
They have their
scenario.
levels.
Yeah.
Kind of like an onion.
Oh.
Level 2 is onion. Well, I guess if you would want to... I guess you could argue for a mid-boss type event in the guilty, I suppose. And it had to do with the pacing of things. And I'd make the argument that it was the events with Jude and Sekhmet in the Primogen Council.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what I was... Yep.
See, that's cool.
I knew that was the mid-game right there.
See, and that wasn't planned. It was just the natural progression of it. But there you go. And the idea behind that was that the Primogen Council reached out to the Shadow Lord, who was fairly influential in the war effort,
Okay.
and said, this is out of control. Let's talk.
Peace treaty.
Yeah. And so a meeting was set, but the problem is there was a second faction of Garu in the city who wanted to burn the mother down,
Oh boy.
led by Silent Strider. And he got wind of this also. And he beat Jude to the location and brought a war party.
Oh boy.
And we burned that place down.
Yeah, he got half of the war party killed,
Yep.
but he managed to get all of the council but one. Not that they knew that. And so they're sitting there celebrating the burning husk of this building, and like the 4 Garu who survived are all high fives. And then Jude shows up.
Pissed.
And those 2 NPCs fought. A leg was severed. There was some almost frenzying. Some shots were fired. People were knocked out. And then that led into the trial, the quote trial of Jude Rydell,
Yep.
where there was a little council put together to find out what the fuck went on and who was to blame and what was going to happen.
Because that should have been the end of it.
Should have
if
been the end of the
it
war.
went Through.
Yeah.
But was it?
No.
Yep. Just mid-game threat.
Turns out, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
share with the listeners what happened after the mid-game, after the trial. What happened?
Well, that's a lot. I mean,
Yeah, there is
Well-
quite a bit there.
I mean,
They know the kind of the ending because it was in my Ragabash episode. If you guys want to head back and listen to that, they
good
know the
callback.
ending.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that.
That was a good
I like
callback.
that.
I couldn't remember when we talked about
It was
it.
in my Ragabash episode
Good man.
because it was one of my more prouder Ragabash moments.
That was yeah.
I was questioning the way we were going to fight.
It-
I mean, it's really all it was, and I came down with, why aren't we doing it this way?
and you were correct and you won. So
Thanks for letting me pull out the vampire book.
we were on break. Oh, that's right. The one fucking vampire book.
The one book
The
you
one
had.
book.
And it told me lightning damage hurts him.
Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah. Well, what happened? Fine.
Thank you.
Again, this little trial, if you will, this little was set up to find out what the hell happened. And so old Jude goes to Crimson Ghost over to Tom here, and he says, I need you to go to the Sept of the Sweet Summer Rain. You're going to find a man named Lennox Ashmain.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to introduce yourself. You are going to, and I forget the name of your mother. But you're,
Rhonda.
Rhonda. You are going to say you are Rhonda's son and explain that you need help. Because what Jude knew that Crimson Ghost didn't is that Lennox Ashmain was Crimson Ghost's grandfather.
This is when I first met my family. One of my family members.
So he knew, in the idea there was he needed a strong Ahround in the Sept, which did not exist. And a strong elder Ahround, and he needed someone that would owe him a favor, someone that would be more than likely to support anything Jude's gonna, but he needed someone else to bring them to the premises.
And of course, dangle a grandkid in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna come.
He can't refuse at that point.
Yep.
So that's where the manipulation comes in.
That's where the manipulation comes in.
Shadow Lord. Oh boy.
And hey, Lennox really liked Jude. He thought he had a lot of some big set of balls on him.
That's
You
true.
remember.
I do remember that.
He told you, this is the most dangerous guy in the room. Don't you ignore the Geta Fenris over there. This is the guy you got to watch out for. Look at him.
And he rolled up in a wheelchair.
Yep, just rolled up in this wheelchair. Lord Ashmain. It's a pleasure. What a surprise that you're here.
Yeah, that episode, that stuck out to me. Well, I had one other question going back. When you're making your enemies that we face, sometimes you have to do an audible if they're too strong.
Yeah, that's happened a couple times. I am notoriously bad at power levels on Banes versus what you guys are capable of.
So how do you get around that?
Well, again, it's
Well, that's just something for people building Chronicles.
No,
Make
yeah,
sure
you
you're
know,
building your
you just-
enemies to the proper strength of
yeah.
your
You
characters.
keep TP on hand because God damn it, this vein just killed you 3 times. This was
In
supposed to
one
be like
roll.
a right. This is supposed to be a mid-level threat. I overdid it.
Right.
You know, it's a problem I have. What you do is you make changes on the fly. First of all, you're rolling your dice behind a screen, or with some weirdo app. It just get real dice, please. It's
Please
better.
get real
Get real
dice.
dice. It's better.
It makes it much better.
And then, like, there's a sense of ownership, and it's a more fulfilling experience. I promise. It sounds weird.
It doesn't tempt you to go on other apps on your phone.
right.
Yeah.
It's not collecting your personal data. It's not draining your battery.
Yeah. Ring the button.
God damn it.
Put your phones away.
Fuck.
Sorry to throw you off.
You bastard. No, you know, you roll your dice and you're behind a screen. They can't see your rolls. So, look, if you've got to fudge them for the sake of the game, fudge the damn rolls. Don't tell anybody about it. If shit happens. If you made a threat that was supposed to be like a mid-level threat and you killed someone in one hit because your fucking numbers were off, fix it.
Right.
You know, half their damage or something. And if that's too low, tweak it the other way. You know, as a storyteller, you're in control of how long or how short a combat is ultimately. You know, their rolls, there's not a whole lot you can do about, you know, the player's rolls. But the enemy's rolls? Combat's going too long? Well, maybe that spiral's soak roll was actually garbage and not like 6/10s.
Oh, boy.
You know, that's up to you as a storyteller.
God roll 6/10s. Oof.
Well, you know,
Wish I could roll that. And don't practice your rolls.
yeah, don't. You touch the dice when it's your turn to roll them.
Nothing more annoying than hearing someone rolling dice while you're trying to talk a story.
Or suspicious. I pre-rolled, did you? So you were practicing rolls until you pre-rolled?
Yeah. Oh, you got 9/10s over there. Nice.
Ah, it's crazy. That's a crazy pre-roll. After your 8 practice rolls. No, fuck you. That's not how that works.
So, do you have any other questions?
No, that was my last one that I was coming off the top of my head right now.
You know, I appreciated that you did that little outline of how you come up with a chronicle. Because, you know, I've always been curious about how you write.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I write in a narrative voice.
Right.
And I have been hesitant to try to write stories or chronicles because I don't know the format.
Well, and that's the thing, is I don't think there's one solid format. It's what works best for you.
But when you say you have a 4-page script, a 10-page script, what does that look like? Do you have, you know, just the monsters, or do you have like a flow chart, an if-then setup?
Okay, good question. Good question. And I'll say that my days of 21-page scripts are gone. Mm-hmm. I have been able to...
Storyteller knowledge has replaced a lot of that.
Sure.
Because you've been in the business for so long.
You know, and there's a level of just top of my head that I can do that, you know, well, you get used to that. It's a skill. It happens. But so, you know, you want your opening narration. You know, obviously your title, your chapter, whatever. You know, your opening narration. You want the gist of what's going to happen. Maybe there are certain pieces of dialogue that you want to have happen. So in which case, if you know, a couple lines popped into my head, like Butchers in the Shadows would say, that I think are particularly cold-blooded or particularly useful. You know, I'll do, you know, Butchers in the Shadows, I'll call and write the line just so I don't forget it later. But mostly my scripts are locations, you know, making sure that the feel of somewhere's right. You know, you're in a new sept, or NPC descriptions for the first time you're seeing them. When I have, you know, when I'm statting out threats, those are their own pages. Mm-hmm. And I keep a separate Word file with, quote, stock enemies. I have like 4 or 5 different spiraled answer stats in gift set, you know, a handful of gifts I particularly like. So I can just mix and match. And go, okay, well, we're going to take the really strong guy, we're going to take these 3 gifts, and just move them over to my script.
Oh, okay.
You know, Scrags, okay, there's the Scrags, there's the Psychomancy, there's the Nexus Crawler.
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
You don't throw those all over the place, but I have those stats in the separate file. So if I need it, I can just grab it. You know, it saves a lot of time because I used to do it the other way. And because I'm doing all of this in Word, You know, it's just the most convenient for me. You know, so for like the black spirals, I'll have the health levels, you know, represented as zeros. And then I'll have like, you know, the wound penalties in much smaller font. So they're not taking up as much room, but I'm not forgetting to do them.
Okay.
Which makes keeping the little templates there all the more important, because it takes all goddamn day if you're doing that for 6 on the fly.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's a big thing for me is to keep those templates there. Really, really, really saves time.
So there's a key right there. Make sure you make some templates.
Yeah. You don't have to, but Jesus.
It will help a lot.
Yeah. Makes life easier.
Okay. Let's,
No, keep going.
let me just go to the other side of this coin.
How dare you?
There's another side.
There's like 7 sides.
Hey, what's the other side of the onion?
The upside down.
There you go. No.
I'll talk about that in a minute, too.
In Werewolf, the quote experience is renown. And that's how you gain
Rank.
rank.
But there's
and-
also experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
You've played. I don't have to tell you this.
Maybe she needs a refresher.
maybe I do.
We
need a
haven't played in
refresher.
6 months.
No. Baby steps, baby steps.
I'm sorry.
So, how do you hand that out? Why and when?
Okay. This is probably a bad habit.
Okay.
So, like, I don't know how I feel about even admitting it to
Anyone?
5s of people.
We're
Let
at
alone-
6 now. Come on.
Yeah, you're right.
We're in our second 5.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Second 5 right now.
Sweet. Not only admitting that, but I endorsing it.
So it's a cautionary tale.
Maybe I don't hand out renown at the end of every game.
Okay.
I know that I'm supposed to. But I will do it at the end of an arc.
Okay.
And I will lie and tell you that I'm keeping very close track of the things that you do. But, you know, renown tends to build up really, really quickly.
This is why I'm not mad that he does it his way. I don't think any of us as players are mad the way he does it. Because
Yeah.
I could be sitting there, especially being a Ragabash, going, I could be rank 5 right now.
But does your character deserve to be rank 5 right now?
Exactly. And my character's not even a year old, so I am 100% with the way he gives out the renown and the experience.
And that was the thing, too, that I made the decision that once you have the renown to rank up, you spend that renown
Yep.
to rank up.
It blanks out.
Yeah. Because it should take longer to go from rank 2 to 3 than 1 to 2.
Right.
But the way the renown can sometimes snowball, it'll be like, oh, well, if I can't get one more permanent glory, I'm rank 3. But you just get your rank 2 challenge. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Right.
You know, but at the same time, I want to make sure that it's not, I'm not punishing you guys. At least that's the hope. I mean, you can tell me.
I don't feel punished at all.
You know, yeah, when you will be rank 3 when it's appropriate for you to be rank 3.
Which, in my opinion, not for another Chronicle.
You know, there's a level of trust, I think, between the player and the storyteller that goes on with what I'm doing there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and so like I've earned that trust, hopefully, and you make
Oh,
sure
for
not to
sure.
betray it.
So, speaking of ranks, where do you like your players to be rank-wise? Where is the sweet spot that you are writing for?
Well, there isn't one, because I'll write to the group. You know, with a new group, you're starting as first changers.
Okay.
You know, and that goes into character. That helps, you know, you grow with your character. You're having those experiences for the first time. I know, Tom, you're a big fan of that.
Huge fan.
You know, and I think it good. I think it helps bond you to your character. You know?
It solidifies your character. It fleshes them out in your own head. That's why I really like it that way.
You know, Joey Echo, she started at rank 2.
Yep.
But she started comparable to where these guys are.
Right. Right.
And you're an experienced player, so you can handle the extra work of fleshing out what the hell she's been doing with her life up until
yeah.
there are stories, there are experiences.
Yeah.
You know, you got to fill that in, which you did. You're fine. It's good.
And I mean, your character doesn't know them, but you've heard some of them, and
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Echo was very fleshed out. I mean, I'm still new, and listening to what she wrote, I could not make a freaking level 2 already. I would not be able to do it right now. I mean, I might, but like I said, I'm still not far enough in, because I'm still only rank 2 with mine.
And that sort of makes the point I was about to make, is you can't have a brand new player start with like a rank 2 Garu.
Right.
Because they don't...
Or start with a clave.
Well, that's
That should not happen.
Right.
It shouldn't. If you're a new storyteller, I guess there's nothing wrong with it. I don't like to do it. Silver is really dangerous.
The most dangerous thing, you should not be handing that out willy-nilly.
No, you shouldn't. And I mean, it's your game if you want to. I remember in Virginia, there was some kickback about my refusal to hand out silver like that. And so to make a point, we had the two players, and I said, okay, we're gonna do a mock combat. In this mock combat, use your characters, use your stats, you both have claves.
That's deadly.
Yeah, but I'm making a point. It's non-canon, it's just an exercise.
Okay.
Because I'm proving a point, and lo and behold, the first hit killed the other person.
Yep.
One swing.
Can't soak silver, asshole.
Exactly.
This is a real thing.
It's for all the marbles.
You gotta be careful with how you do that.
Yeah. And, I mean, there is something to be said about having, that fun game and that, be silly and be crazy.
Yeah, that you can absolutely do it,
But that's a one-off.
Right, I would not put that in a Chronicle. I would do it for, you want to have a funsy day? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You're all rank 4 and you have claves. Go have fun.
dessert.
Yep. Dessert. Yeah, no.
And it also gets you a building point on if you want to make your character, like you get to play with gifts that your character wouldn't get to see
right.
for a while. So you can get a building point like, oh, well, I want to build my character to get up to here.
Oh, it's really funny you're talking about that. That backfired on me.
Ooh, okay.
Again, Virginia. I wrote most of a 4-parter. And it was one of those, again, this was an early Chronicle for new players. Because the idea here was that they got lost in the Umbra. Mm-hmm. Got caught in an Umbral storm and thrown off into a near realm. And because they were young, they didn't know how to get home.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck.
Which led them going to another near realm instead of getting home. And they just were lost. And, so 4-parter, I wrote 3 of them.
Yep.
Where I wrote 2, hit a complete creative wall.
Mm-hmm.
And said, Joey, fucking help. And so she ghost wrote for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
She broke their spirits.
Yeah. It was... I crushed
I'm going to need
them.
to hear about this one.
It was set in the Scar.
Mm-hmm.
And, so we got that Dickensian London vibe going, and she wrote it so well. It was so bleak. It bummed out the players. And as an added bonus, the rolls were ice cold all night.
Oh.
There were 2 botches during the game, during ridiculous scenarios.
That's not good.
They ran from the final encounter.
Yeah.
Like Benny Hill style.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. No, there was like the textile factory that caught fire and was like killing.
Because the Glasswalker used create element in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's genius.
Yeah, blew
Yeah.
himself up.
That's like using a silver grenade in a car.
Yeah. Like if it was Murphy's Law Day, and then the story was so fucking bleak, they wanted to kill themselves at the end of it. I mean, I'm talking the players.
Wow.
Like, no one was, they're like, oh my god, I hate my life.
Yeah. It was like, sharp objects, get them away from sharp objects time.
Story got like an F-.
Wow.
Like, that was the kind of feedback I got. I got to tell Joey, and it's like, it's not that it was a bad story, it's that,
I did it too good.
yeah, you hit it
You
too
hit them in the
hard.
psyche a little too hard.
Yeah.
You broke their brains. But the ideal was we were doing the 3 stories, and the 4th one would be a pocket realm of the Umbra that was a potential future of the world that they're in. It's like 20 years later, during an apocalypse scenario. And so we called it Dessert. Because what I did was I drafted new character sheets for them as rank 5 Garu.
Ooh,
And just gave them whatever I thought they'd like. Just a bunch of neat shit to play with. So of the
something
group,
to bring them back from that. Just
yeah, it was dessert. You
Yeah.
ate your peas. Here you go. Here's an ice cream sundae. This
fudge and sprinkles and the whole 9 yards, because that sounds fun.
this is a Gerhol gift. Who gives a shit? You can play with it today. Hey, use a Grand Clave.
Oh, wow.
Whatever. Just have fun. But also, this was a potential future. So I'm laying seeds all over the thing, of stuff that, here's an NPC who's missing an eye and missing an arm. And in their time, the NPC's already missing an eye, and 5 stories later, I take an arm.
Ooh.
Coincidence?
Ah.
Exactly.
Maybe not.
Could have been some red herrings, could have not have been, you never know.
Yeah, so I was setting a lot of shit up. So it wasn't just,
No, I like that.
yeah,
That's good desserts.
thank you. Well, the problem, if I think of the 4 players, I think it was
Where's
4
my
at the time.
clave?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see where this is becoming.
3 of the 4 were like, that was awesome and a lot of fun, thank you. And then the other guy spent the next 4 months going, hey, when can I get Gift of the Spriggan? I said, well, you're not going to Fenris, so never.
But I have the experience to spend it.
Yeah, nah. No,
can
John.
see that happening.
No, Johnny Foster, you're not getting. So yeah, it could backfire.
So one final question, I guess. Where do you draw all your inspiration?
I'm glad you asked that question. I was hoping for that question to float out.
It's been back there. I've just been waiting to throw it out.
No, I feel like it's a proper,
Yeah, it is a good.
Yeah.
I mean, TV,
This is
movies,
the last
comics, like
Well, all of it.
right. I mean,
You
but
know?
specifically, where could somebody get their inspiration? Because we know you're going to be getting yours. You've talked about it a few times: comics, TV, movies.
Right, and everything has its own voice, its own sound. A great example would be the Silent Howl. I can associate them with the Foo Fighters album, There's Nothing Left to Lose. Almost every track on that album directly relates to something about the Silent Howl. We talked about The Guilty, that Chronicle, that was the Shadows album by Sean James. It's that whole album. It started with, it's the whole album. You can look at TV. I mean, you look at things like Season 1 of Stranger Things. I love Season 1 of Stranger Things because it's secretly a World of Darkness story.
It really, really is.
Upside down. What is that? That's the Umbra.
Yeah, it's the Penumbra.
Yeah.
The Demogorgon is just a scrag. Like, look up the description.
Yeah.
It's like 88% scrag. And then, 11, that's, you know what she is she's a test subject, and was it Project Enid or Project Iliad, who escaped.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She's a psychic that they were trying to fuse a bane into, and she got away. Possibly leaving holes in the gauntlet through her escape, where the scrag is popping in and out.
Which, all the best for us, because when Stranger Things Season 1 came out, we had just started.
Yeah. And I could go watch this. This is a great visual aid for what the Umbra looks like.
Exactly.
That's just a scrag right there.
Yeah, that helped so much just flesh out a lot of things for us.
So there's stuff like that. I mean, I think that's a great example. But, you're going to find, just explore different shit, different music, different shows. You're going to get kernels of ideas. You're going to have something that's going to hit you in a certain way. And there's nothing, there's not a guidepost you can give. You're just going to find the thing and it's going to hit you. It's going to go, oh my God, that's that character.
Yeah.
That is exactly that fucking character.
And I mean, I'm a reader, so when I'm trying to come up with stuff, I go to novels, and imagery that I pick from novels. So it's like, oh no, because remember I rewrote one of your packs, their descriptions.
Yeah, thank you.
And it was like, no, she needs to look like this.
No, she really helped modernize this pack. It was a southern pack of kind of cowboy inspired, and I literally wrote one as Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, it was bad.
He was
No John Wayne Gacy in there?
That's a clown, sir.
That's
I see where you're confused.
That's what you were being.
I was being a murder clown?
You
Yes.
were.
Man. I mean,
Hence why I threw the name out there.
he did some sick shit. Can you give me like Pennywise?
Oh, you can pick the murder
Or,
clown.
or what's the one that you can hire to scare your kids?
I don't know. I don't want to
Ronald
know.
McDonald?
No, there's
Chuckles?
I think it might be Chuckles.
Oh,
there's a
boy.
documentary on him. I think it's on Amazon.
I don't know.
No, there's really a guy who dresses up like a clown and scares kids, and you can like call him and
Oh.
No, thanks.
Oh, that's that's some dark shit right there. Okay. Anyway,
yeah.
but I'm just saying. Before we got off on the murder clown tangent,
Right.
it doesn't have to be movies or music. It doesn't have to be that. It can be from books. It can be something you saw while you were driving down the street.
Real life instances. Definitely. Wherever you draw from is wherever you draw it from.
Yeah, I mean, he has me specifically. So.
Right.
And yeah, there are real life experiences too, or real life locations. There's some wooded areas and some maybe not so wooded areas with a few interesting landmarks around here. that I have seen and drawn from. But, you know, for me, music is probably the biggest source of inspiration. And, you know, I kind of listen to everything. And I seek stuff out sometimes, or I will find, especially because our games are set in the 90s. You know, it's a big thing for me. So I'll hit up like the one-hit wonders of a particular era, because that's going to inform the tone, the daily tone of what's going on in your guys' world. You know, if fucking Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba or a Ace of Bases, I Saw the Sign is like the new hit in this time, I might integrate it just to help get you guys into the right mindset of general day-to-day life, not related to what's going on, like the dark shit that you're going to do that day. But while I'm doing that, what I'll do is I won't just download I Saw the Sign to play in the background and annoy everybody, but I'll download a discography or a couple of albums in that era, and I'll listen to all of it, and I'll probably include none of it. Because how often have you guys heard me play music during a game? It's exceedingly
very rare.
fucking
Once,
rare.
I think.
Yeah, it's super rare.
Yeah. But I can draw from that shit. And I'm surprised stuff that I find that either I totally hate, like, completely, or there'll be a song or two that sticks with me, or that might inspire something. You know, it's not just, I'll grab that song, which, I mean, is easy to do. You go to iTunes and just do it's $1.50, fine, who cares? I'll spend the extra, because I suck. I don't know why. Or, you know, maybe once upon a time I might have sailed the high seas. I don't do that anymore. But, you know, I cop to it. I'm fucking human.
We all did it.
Right?
Mm-hmm. You can't say
Yeah.
you didn't.
You know. So, like, I'd grab a discography. And, oh, look, this is what I found. Well, this song from an artist that I'm only listening to because she had a one-hit wonder thing, you know, has a song that I'm basing 3 stories on.
Neat.
So you never know where it hits. Just don't be afraid to explore.
Yeah, you could make a couple episodes off of I Saw the Sign. Red herrings, man.
Well, I'll tell you, I actually never have grabbed Ace of Base. It was just what was...
What was in your heart at the time?
Yeah, it was in my heart at the time.
Okay, so
Well, speaking of heart, you know, we put a lot of heart and soul into this podcast. Look at this fucking segue.
this is going to be quality.
We put a lot of heart and soul into this podcast to give you guys the best show that we can, that we know how to, and have a lot of fun doing it. I think that's part of it too. And so, you know, it's important to us, engagement, you know, that we're reaching you, and hopefully you come and talk to us. And, you know, we launched a website a couple weeks ago.
Yes, we did.
You know, and we have some pretty big designs on what we want the future to be for not only the podcast, but just for us in general, and for you guys. You know, we want this to be our digital cairn. You know, our community where we can all get together and discuss different points, and to have, you know, guides and suggestions and story ideas and character ideas and shit up in those forums. You know, we have that Game Finder section to where, you know, go in there. Hey, I'm from Virginia Games. This is where I am. So if you need a game, if you need some people, whatever, you can go here and you can find them. You know, you can reach out to us and talk to us. You know, we do have a donate button. If you could find it in your hearts, if you have the spare to toss those something our way to help us with our production costs and things like that, that would mean the world to us. And if you can't, or you don't want to, that's fine too. We have an Amazon portal. And if you don't know how that works, that's fantastic. You click on the Amazon thing, it opens up Amazon in a new window, because you're going to be shopping on Amazon, right?
Everybody's shopping on Amazon.
You almost can't avoid it, you know? And so anything you spend on Amazon, you know, through our portal, Amazon gives us a little kickback at no extra cost to you. So you're just doing what you're going to do on a daily basis. Maybe change your bookmark so you don't even have to take that extra click. But that's a way to support us without actually having to do anything or spend any money, because I feel weird about asking for money, but...
So what's our website?
Shit ain't cheap or free. I mean, it's gonna be free to you. We're not putting we're not putting this under a paywall or anything.
They don't.
That's never gonna happen.
Yeah,
Never.
That's not what we're about.
No.
But you can read it. That's rageacrosstheinternet.com.
www.
It's like I'm 4 years old.
You're still forgetting HTTP.
And again, I leave the colons out of this.
That's why I'm not saying colons and backslashes. Just don't forget your HTTP.
www.rageacrosstheinternet.com.
.com.
I'm not echoing that. I'm not Danny.
He's not participating. We definitely want to hear from you.
Yeah, come talk to me at Twitter.
Yeah.
At Rage Across.
That's right. And you can still find me on Facebook at, Rage Across the Internet.
You'll find me on the forums.
Hey, there you go.
Forums where?
At www.ragecrosstheinternet.com. There we go.
Holy shit! Shameless plugs. Is that good?
Yeah.
Do we have covered?
I think we're ready for Cubs Corner now.
I don't have actually anything for Cubs Corner. Do
Oh,
you
we've
guys
got
have?
nothing.
You know what though? I have a thing for Cubs Corner today.
Oh, awesome.
How ridiculous is that, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm not going to answer it because I'm asking the damn question.
Okay.
This will be fun.
Yeah. So, and this is shockingly something we have not said. This is really dumb. So I got two. I'm going to hand them out. So Joey, what's Garu?
Garu are werewolves.
Okay.
So
Why don't you just say werewolves?
because
I'm
Garu is the name that they use to refer to themselves.
Oh. Isn't it ridiculous we've never covered that?
I find that a little. I thought we had covered that, but I guess not.
Have not, apparently.
Huh.
Tom,
Oh boy.
what's an umbra?
What's an umbra? A spirit realm.
Oh. Okay.
I
No,
have
that's
no
it. That's what I
idea.
got.
Oh well, hey,
Those
those
are
are
two
good
very simple questions
actually.
that we have somehow not hit. That was-
Well, and with the Umbra, yes, it is a spirit realm, but the Garu, the werewolves, can go back and forth between the realm, which is Earth, and the spirit realm, which is the Umbra.
also known as the Velvet Shadow.
Ooh,
Because
now
classy
you're-
and sexy.
Now, I was gonna say, now you're getting complicated.
That shit is classy and sexy.
That's
man.
true.
But that's an exceedingly simple and ridiculous.
I am
Cubs
surprised we did not cover that.
Corner. No, I know. It's like, wow. That's some day one
How-
shit.
how did
just
we
skipped
not
right
do
over
that?
Yeah.
We're on episode what? Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Well, now you know.
Yeah.
The
So
more you know.
little apologies to the Silver Fox pack out there.
I like that. So, okay.
Yeah, that's our time for right now. Mm-hmm. You know where to find us. We will be back next week to discuss some other nonsense. So, on behalf of Summer Rain Studios, I want to say thank you for tuning in. Come back next time. Tell everyone you've ever heard of. Be excellent to each other. Take care. We'll see you.
Rage Across the Internet's music is It's Into the Fog by Darren Curtis, shared with a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 unported license. For details, check out the information under the podcast.